people, welcome to my new channel. It's called Senior Perspective because I'm a senior. I'm in my 50s. And there's a whole lot of perspectives on 20-year-olds on the internet. So I thought, let me give you a refreshing look at things. And maybe even if you are a 20-year-old, you're like, do people in their 50s think the same thing as me, or am I crazy? So here you go, Senior Perspective. Mostly going to be reality TV. For the longest time, it's just going to be Sister Wives, so we'll see. If the channel takes off, I'll just keep going with it, and if nobody likes or subscribes or comments, then I'll just stop. But I hope you do, because I've done this, and I'm starting with Sister Wives, because I don't know one person who watches Sister Wives. Not one. I mention it to people that I watch it. I mention it as my guilty pleasure, and nobody's like, oh yeah, mine too. No. Occasionally, they will say, oh, I heard a lot of people are watching that, or oh, I heard it's a good season, and then that's it. So here I am. I get so frustrated throwing things at my television that this is my therapy. I'm going to get it out here. Let me know if you agree with anything that I have to say. Now, I do have to admit, I just recorded this entire episode. It took about an hour to hour and a half. And then when I went, my computer just froze. Absolutely froze. I don't know why it froze, but I had to do a hard reset and I lost the entire video. So I'm going to try to blast through this a little bit quicker. I hope I don't talk too fast. My goal was to make these videos closer to 30 minutes instead of an hour that they've been, because it just takes a long time to edit, because I record about an hour and 40 minutes to get it down to an hour. So let me know what you think about that too. If you enjoy the whole hour going over kind of almost everything they said, or if you just want to synopsize general ideas. So give me feedback so I know. Okay, so this is Don't Put All Your Eggs in One Basket. It's episode 10. And we do our standard obligatory Coyote Pass opening scene. And then we cut to Christine, who is talking about Easter. She's stuffing money and candy in eggs. A little disturbing because the candy doesn't look wrapped, but I'm going to just say it is because that's more palatable to me. So, and it might be. It just doesn't look like it, and I can't quite tell. But she talks about how excited she is. Janelle and a bunch of her kids are coming up, and they're going to celebrate Easter together, and they're going to have an Easter egg hunt, and they're going to color eggs, have a big Easter meal. And then we cut to Cody, who says, oh, we are not celebrating Easter. We are celebrating Resurrection Sunday. So arrogant, like he has the answers to it all. Okay, let me just be very clear, Cody. Easter is Resurrection Sunday. They're the exact same thing. Easter is the Sunday that we celebrate Jesus, where the tomb was empty. So he rose from the dead. Resurrection Sunday. Exact same thing. Exact same thing. He is just so pompous and arrogant that he has to give it a different word. And I get that along with Easter comes, I don't know if they're pagan traditions. I mean, maybe some of them have some pagan originality, but the reality of it is they're just basic traditions of hunting for eggs, going on a scavenger hunt. Scavenger hunts are not pagan. You know, eating candy and dyeing eggs. I don't know what the original intent is, but Cody gets dressed up and puts on dark eye makeup and looks creepy and all that multiple times throughout these seasons for Halloween, which is not only a pagan but a black magic holiday. I mean, again, he makes no sense. Then he flashes back and says all this time between he and Christine, there's a lot of flashbacks. And she's like, well, we used to celebrate it when I was a kid and when we first got married, but then Cody decided not to anymore. And we put an end to it. And we didn't celebrate any holidays until Robin came into the family. And she's like, oh, I do celebrate holidays. And Cody's like, oh, you do? Okay, we will again. And that's how it went. Then Cody reflects on the fact that originally in the family, they celebrated it, but then he not consulted. Let me see. What did he say exactly? He said, oh, I started talking to people who have interpretations of scriptures. Everybody has an interpretation of scripture. When you read the scriptures, You then interpret it. You pray ahead of time that, that the words and what God wants you to learn from that scripture at that time is going to come into your heart, and it's going to change your life, and it's going to help you be a better person. Same scripture can mean something different to you now than it does 15 years from now. It's not like there's a one be-all and end-all. I know all the answers and what exactly every verse in the Bible means, because it's a flowing, living document. Okay? I think Cody should know that. So he apparently went to some guru who interpreted scripture in such a way that they should not celebrate Easter, the big holiday for Christians. Like, this is it. It's bigger than Christmas. Christmas is just Jesus was born. He's just a baby right now. He's done nothing. He hasn't lived his life. He hasn't done any miracles. He hasn't saved anybody. He hasn't died on the cross and rose again. None of that stuff. He's just a baby. But we celebrate it. It's his birthday. Easter, however, now this is a Super Bowl for Christians. This is a big thing. But he said, we're not going to celebrate. We're going to celebrate Passover. Not in any of the Gospels. I mean, actually, it's in all the Gospels, because they continue to celebrate Passover because, they were all Jewish. But Passover is in Exodus, I believe, the second book of the Bible, way back when, the Old Testament. So, let's go back about 40 books into the Old Testament. And that's when Exodus happened. It was God leading his people out of Israel, and the how an evil spirit was going to come, and it killed all the firstborns in the house, but if you put this blood of the lamb above your door, that you would be passed over. And that's where Passover came from. And so when the evil spirit came, if there was blood above the door, which all the Jews were instructed to do, they were then saved. Everyone else, their kids died, and Pharaoh was like, oh, get out of here. You guys are real. And that was the connection to Easter, is that it's one of the many prophecies in the Old Testament to the coming of Christ down the road, and how Jesus died and spilled his blood, and to save us, the same kind of stuff that's going on. Okay, so there's where the connection is. But Passover in and of itself, yes, Christians celebrate it. I think it's like couple Thursdays before Easter. Like, it doesn't really matter what the day is, but it's not like, oh, I shouldn't be celebrating this, but I should be celebrating that. It makes no difference. Celebrate them both. They're two different things, really. One is kind of a premonition to the other one, but one is a historical thing that happened a long, long time ago, and the other one's a historical thing that happened in the Newer Testament. I don't know. Let me know what you think about all that, because it really irked me, his arrogance in this interview part, and how he thinks he has the answers, but it made no sense. Again, if I had $1 for every time I said, it makes no sense, Cody. This makes no sense. If I can just step back for a second, I just want to point out the fact that Christine's grandfather started this whole sect of the polygamy culture, this more fundamentalist group, and I believe it's the actual AUB that her grandfather started. And her family still celebrated Easter with these fun traditions. So if you go on a scavenger hunt and look for eggs, it doesn't make you an evil person, and it doesn't mean that you don't still believe and that you don't still celebrate and have reverence for Easter Sunday, which I just want to say, in all the churches I've ever been to in my life, and I go to general basic Christian churches, Bible-based Christian churches, non-denominational Christian churches, all of them, and I was raised Lutheran, all of them, even through the Lutheran tradition, when Sunday came, it was called Easter Sunday. Now, sometimes they would say, oh, we're going to celebrate Resurrection Sunday, but then they would go on and then we would just call it Easter. It was Easter Sunday. It's still referred to as Easter Sunday, so get off your high horse, Cody. So Cody acknowledged that when Robin came in the family and she celebrated these things, and she didn't want to give them up, her compromise was, oh, I'm just going to go to my parents' house and I'll celebrate with my kids there because they're used to celebrating it. But Cody wouldn't have it. Like, oh, you can't leave my side. No. We will all change and we'll celebrate things. Which Christine acknowledges was a great thing because she wanted the traditions to come back. So she's like, yay, I'm glad you got a wife that you love more than all of us and that you'll listen to and who has an opinion of something that I agree with. So thus, Christmas and Easter came back into the family. I do have to do a quick quote from this episode, however, because Robin talks Robinese, or maybe this is her speaking Cody, but she was asked the simple question of why is it that they didn't celebrate, but then after you came into the family, they did. She acts like she has no idea that it just happened. Like she never had a conversation with anybody about what are their traditions and why do they do them and what she does and could we compromise. Like that conversation never happened. She just blindly walked in and said, oh, I'm going to go somewhere else. And then Cody said, oh, no, stay here. We're going to celebrate. And that she didn't question it at all. She just went, oh, okay. You haven't been celebrating it for the past 15 years, but you're going to. Okay. Like, oh. I mean, I don't know if she's that dumb, but here's her answer to why. Robin said there were some changes after she came into the family in terms of holidays. She said, I don't know why it was. Why it was different. I don't know why, why maybe it was a different thought process. I'm not sure. Maybe different ideas. I don't know. Those words make no sense, Robin. You don't know if they were different thought processes. You didn't answer the question. Why did things change after you came in? That's the question. Oh, she just does word vomit over things and thinks that she sounds brilliant maybe, or maybe she's trying to put a voodoo hex on people, but I'm a speech language pathologist. You're not going to fool me. Words matter. Cut to Christine, who says, part of the reason I'm celebrating Easter is because Cody said no. That doesn't surprise me. Then they talk to Cody, who's talking about the fact that he knows that Janelle and Christine are getting together for Easter with their kids. And this is Cody's interpretation of what's happening. He said, this is Christine and Janelle's plan to separate my children from me so that they can have them all to themselves. Yeah, Cody. This is their big evil plan. They got married to you all those years ago, and then they had all these kids, and they kept trying to nurture these relationships, and she kept saying, can we get together, and what are the COVID rules, let's try to do this, and she just bowed down and did everything you want. You don't want to celebrate holidays, fine, we won't celebrate holidays. You want to move to Vegas, I don't want to, but okay, I'll move to Vegas. Now you want to move to Flagstaff, I really don't want to, okay, I'll move to Flagstaff. She's done all this stuff all along the way. And now she has this big evil plan to pull all his kids away from him. And it's called Easter Sunday. We're going to get together and have a scavenger hunt for colored eggs. And that's going to make your kids never want to see you again, Cody. Nothing that you've said or done in the past. It's the Easter egg hunt. Maybe it's the dyeing of the eggs. I don't know. Or maybe that put it over the top. You're so dumb, Cody. It makes no sense. We cut to an interview with Christine where she just says it was a delightful holiday. It was relaxing. There was no stress. There was no pressure. And then they show lots of videos of the kids running around and smiling and laughing. And Christine says, all right, let's be honest. They were all into it because there was money in those eggs. But I mean, kids are into it because there's candy in the eggs. Let's be honest. If they were empty eggs, no one would be as excited to run around. You put 5s and 10s like Christine did, I'll go running around looking for eggs. Honestly, don't apologize, Christine. You're smart. And then we cut to Robin. Oh, TLC is brilliant sometimes with her editing, and this is one of those times. This is what Robin says about the whole holiday thing. Every time I start to plan for a holiday, I go through this process of mourning. It literally hurts my heart. End quote. Every time she goes through a process, her and Cody have not permitted for the holidays for all the kids to get together for 2 years. And now all of a sudden, when COVID doesn't exist anymore on the level that it did before, and there's no restrictions at all in the United States, and everyone can get together, and there's no reason for them to say anymore, we can't get together, although we still see in this episode where everyone's meeting outside when it comes to interactions with Robin. So anyway, just pointing that out there. But she is the crux of what has caused all the breakdowns in these holidays. She's the reason the kids weren't having a full kid gift exchange, at least not with her kids. The rest of the kids may have still done a gift exchange, I don't know. But she put an end to it off by saying, this is not a safe place for my kids. They're not going to participate anymore. She has been the one keeping everyone away. Do you remember back at the pickup truck when he's like, let's have Mary come over? Maybe, oh no, we can't have Mary come over. No, now's not a good time. But the best part of that quote is the very last line when she says, it literally hurts my heart. Robin, you are not one of these 22-year-olds out there using the word literally incorrectly. You are in your late 40s. If it's literally hurting your heart, you should be in the hospital with some sort of catheter or meter or something monitoring it, because pain in your heart is a very bad sign of physical pain. That's what literal means. Learn the definition. Literal. A literal pain means it really hurts. Figurative pain would be this kind of pain. When you're sad about something, that's a figurative pain. Okay. We cut to Mary in an interview who says that Easter Sunday was just like any other Sunday, and she stayed home by herself, and neither Cody nor Robin invited her to come over. And then she adds, she goes, I just wasn't going to invite myself over there. They know she's all by herself. They're so rotten to her. But then we cut to Mary up in Parowan, and she's with Jen, and they're cleaning out the carriage house, and they're laughing and they're giggling, and Mary's eyes are all glassed over, and she's like, ooh, like a 16-year-old boy again. So a little bit. Whatever she needs to deal with this family, I guess. But it's the levity you need in these episodes where she's laughing and giggling, and she has a really good friend in Jen. And at one point in the episode, in the interview, she talks about how Jen's husband is really good to her as well. Not only is Jen her best friend and is there for her, but Jen's husband, he'll like change the oil in the car, and he'll wash the car, and he'll do things for Mary, who has nobody, like he does for his wife, because it's his wife's best friend. I mean, Jen and her husband are good people. There's an interview with Cody, who says that his relationship with Mary's just amiable. He doesn't see her very often. He doesn't know what to do with their relationship because it's supposed to be eternal, but there's no fire. I don't know. I mean, if you really believe it's eternal, it's one thing to just believe it's a covenant, but if you believe it's a covenant and it's eternal, which is what the Mormon faith believes, and to give up on it because there's no fire anymore, well, let me give you some information, Cody, from somebody who's been married for over 30 years. That fire that you have in the first 5 to 10 years of your marriage doesn't stick around for 20 years, 25 years. Then it becomes a choice that you make. It becomes a commitment that you make to each other, and you work through things, and you find fire in other ways, and you try to rekindle it, and you work at it for that to happen. It doesn't happen just naturally with all the hormones that are happening in your early 20s. It's a different time. We have a brilliant cut to Robin, who has found the key and the answer and the solution to the relationship between Mary and Cody, and what that needs to happen. If Mary could just stick around for this to happen, then they could get back together again. Let me tell you what Robin says. And you know what? She might not be wrong in all of this, but it'll blow your mind, okay? So Robin says, all sincerely, that, she wants Mary and Cody to figure it out. So if Mary could just stick around long enough until we get through what's going on with Christine. Mind you, this has been like a year and a half after she left, but somehow Cody's still worked up over it, okay? If she could just stick around till all this stuff is worked out with Christine, and also all the stuff that Cody and Janelle need to figure out, and then he can get through all of his anger that he has, and then Cody could work through all the emotions that he's dealing with, then they'll have a chance to work things out. So after A, B, C, and D, which are all significant things which will probably take multiple years apiece, but I don't even think some of them are possibilities. After all that, then there's a chance that Cody will come around. So if Mary will just hold on, she just, with her teeth and her nails, will not let go. Poor Mary, she just doesn't see it. We cut back to Cody adding on to the fact that there's not this hot fire and all that going on. And he says that Robin keeps telling him to fix the relationship with Mary, fix the relationship with Janelle, and fix the relationship with his children. But then he goes on to say, but there's no flicker. I don't know. I'm assuming he's not referring to his kids, because I'm assuming he's referring to a romantic flicker, and that's why he can't repair it with the two ladies, because, Cody speak doesn't make sense. So he mentioned these three things, but his answer to the three was there's no flicker. But I think he's just talking about two of the three, I hope. Because if he's referring to there's no flicker with the kids, and that would mean that there's no interest at all in spending time with them, which would be a horrible thing to say. But I wouldn't put it past. He goes on to say that he's married to the love of his life, and that these other situations are in different levels of discord, and it's hard to reconcile, and that he has angst about it. Hard to reconcile what, Cody? Complete a thought. Don't just throw words out there. Word salad, making no sense. It's hard to reconcile what? That he's in love with somebody and he doesn't love them anymore? They're not hard to reconcile. That's what happened. But you just can't admit it. You don't have the balls to say it. The worst part about that sentence, though, is the fact that he referred to his children and his other wives besides Robin as situations. They're still relationships, Cody. Even if they're not good relationships, they're still relationships. They're not situations. Don't ever refer to your child as a situation. So the interviewer must have asked Cody something to the effect of, how often do you see Janelle? How are things going with her? Yada yada, that kind of thing. And Cody says Janelle doesn't want to reconcile, so we see each other every once in a while. We talk on the phone, and then he does that usual look up, liar kind of thing, once in a while. Liar, liar. I don't believe that. And unless his definition of once in a while is like once a month. He goes on to say, but I do believe we can reconcile. Okay, let's just pause there for a second. Why would you want to reconcile? You just said there's no flicker. You have no desire to be around these women. You don't want to repair the relationship. Bouncing ball going around. He doesn't know what he thinks or feels. It's just like when he hears a question, he has to defend. He doesn't listen to the words, and he doesn't put the proper words together to answer the question. I don't know why people don't call him out on this, but it drives me nuts. As a speech language pathologist, it drives me nuts. So after he says, I do believe we can reconcile, he goes on to say, but it would require her to separate from Christine. Christine's fault. Just saying, again, Christine's fault. Christine has so much influence over Janelle, I think it's pathetic. I wanted to throw my pillow at the television by calling Janelle pathetic, like she doesn't have her own thoughts. She's much smarter than you, Cody. And she has been the most loyal out of all of them to you. All this time. Loyal. And you call her pathetic? Oh, talk about pathetic. That's pathetic. You're pathetic, Cody. So Christine gets another rental in Flagstaff. She comes down. Janelle's kids come over. It's a way because not everybody could get together for Easter, so it's kind of another way to get together. They just have a meal while they're there, and the kids start spilling information about their father, and it's kind of sad, but it's their true feelings and how they feel about things. Christine made them lasagna, and they're all having what looks like sparkling wine and then a regular bottle of wine on the table. And I'm looking at all the frothy film on the glasses. The boys might be having beers too, but I'm not sure because I haven't had sparkling cider in a long time. I don't know if it froths or that, but definitely Garrison is having something that looks exactly what beer looks like when you're drinking it out of a glass, but I don't know. So they're having a good time. And maybe they did have a beer or a glass of wine too, because Garrison, as usual, is so angry at Cody that he's willing to just share everything that he's gone through and everything that's on his mind. Janelle brings up the holidays again, even though they're 6 months away. Okay, I get it. It's a big family. You have to plan 6 months in advance. It's just that that's all that TLC records is the planning of, I'm sure there's much more going on in their lives. I'd love to know about what jobs they do, and I would love to know how they fill their time. What are their majors in college? How's school going? Like, you don't get anything else about the family. We just talk about the holidays. But we talk about the holidays again, and they end up deciding that they're all going to get together at Christine's in Utah for Thanksgiving, and Janelle, I believe, is going to Logan's for Christmas. And so Christmas might be another conversation that comes up later on. But right now, everyone's going to Christine's for Thanksgiving. Yay, check. TLC, we don't have to talk about it again. TLC cuts to another interview, and it's Cody blaming everybody else again. He says Janelle became compliant with Gabriel and Garrison, and this wrecked our relationship. Cody has no responsibility, takes zero responsibility for the discord in his relationship with Janelle. That screaming fight that he had with her, the way he treats her, how he never goes over to her house, how he ignored her daughter for 6 weeks. Christmas was right in the middle of it, didn't even get a phone call, got no present, nothing. None of that. And then, of course, the angry way he talks to his boys and how he basically cut them off when they were 18 and said, get out of here, you're gone. I know you're still in college, and I know you are young and just starting off and getting a job, and everything's real expensive in Flagstaff, but bye, you're out of here. That had nothing to do with the breakup. If my husband did that with my kids, bye is what I would say to him. But Cody says his relationship is now strained with Janelle because she's agreeing with her own children, her adult children. And then he goes on to say, I did nothing to Gabe and Garrison except to try to make them accountable. Accountability is not something that Janelle and Christine know anything about. Accountability is nothing they know anything about. Oh, their whole lives has been accountability. Doing everything in the family. They've been giving of themselves financially and also of their time and teaching the kids, and everything that they've given to this family all falls under the umbrella of accountability. They're accountable for everything that they do. Cody, again, using the wrong word. What do you mean? Cody uses accountability and loyalty for the word obedience. That's what he really means. But I think he knows that people will hate him if he speaks the truth and says, I want obedient people in my family. So he uses it, he codes it in words like accountability and loyalty. Sadly, Garrison refers to a time that he just reached out to Cody, which is interesting because Cody says that the kids have never reached out to him. So here's an on-camera example where Garrison said that he reached out to Cody and said, listen, I got this new house. Why don't we have people come over? It could also be like a housewarming. We'll have the whole family come over. It'll be kind of like a neutral ground for both sides of the family, a place nobody's been to yet. Let's get together for the holidays. So now there's not COVID rules anymore, so there's no reason for them not to get together other than sheer stubbornness or somebody saying, no, I refuse to get together with you people, whoever you people may be. Cody's response, and this was in an interview, he said this, I quote verbatim, I have a house. You can come to my house. I have real loyalty here. So again, the kids or the wives are trying to get everyone together, and Cody says, nope, not going to do it. I am king of my castle. I have domain and complete control over everything that happens under this roof because everybody under here is 100% obedient to me. I want you to be subservient and fall underneath and fall in line and with these other people and come in here because I'm scared if I leave this bubble of loyalty / obedience of people, and if I take them out and I put them in another environment, I don't know how they're going to react, and I don't know how I'm going to react because I've been so angry lately. So I can't do it. He's such a weak person. He's so weak. So now Mary has Robin and Aurora and Ari and Saul all come over to her house. She's sitting on a chair outside the house. Of course, they don't go inside. I don't know why, but they don't. And she's all excited. She can't wait to see the kids. I honestly believe this is, I think, July. I don't know. The timelines keep jumping back and forth within episodes. But that would have been 6 months since Christmas. I don't think she's seen the kids since Christmas. I don't think Robin's ever asked her to come over. And we saw that in another episode where Mary is like, you have to call me sometime. You have to invite me over for something. So she made it clear. And then Robin was like all flummoxed and was like, well, yeah, like I've just been all stressed about all this stuff, so I couldn't do it. Like, again, no matter how stressed you are, you can't pick up a phone and say, hey, let's get together so you can see the kids. So they come over and they seem surprised by the hot tub at one point during the thing, and they seem surprised by the swing set at another point. And then Ari asks about the dog, which has been gone for many, many years because when Leon left, Leon took the dog. So I don't think those kids have been over there since before 2020. I mean, yeah. 2019 maybe? Maybe early 2020? That's so sad. And yet Mary's still hanging on to it. She was so excited that they were there. She said this is the reason she's not leaving Cody, because of this family stuff. She loves the family. She loves those kids. Robin didn't say anything about the fact that she wanted the kids to maintain this relationship with Mary, and that the only thing Robin said was, oh, we're coming over because it's important to Mary that she see the kids. Which makes sense, because she doesn't invite Mary to come over to her place, and she doesn't reach out and tell Mary about things going on. She doesn't invite her over for Easter. You know, I mean, it makes sense that she doesn't care about the relationship, and her response directly was, well, this is important to Mary, so we're getting together. Christine and Janelle go downstairs to have a private talk in the Airbnb, sipping on some tea, and in that conversation, Christine asks Janelle if during the time, well, there's a lot of conversation, the same old stuff, all about Cody. I'm not going to rehash it all, but there is an interesting thing that Christine says during that conversation to Janelle, she asks her, I should say, did you see Cody more often when you lived on Coyote Pass? Because Coyote Pass is close to Robin's house, as opposed to living in town, in downtown, which is 30 minutes away. And Janelle didn't answer the question directly. She's like, yeah, well, no, it was about the same. It was the schedule. We don't know what the schedule is. I know he went over there once a week to take the garbage out for her at Coyote Pass and haul it away to the end of the street. So maybe once a week. I don't know. But there's no rotation with other wives, so he should be there for about 3.5 days a week. That's not happening. We know that. But she also added that when he did come over, he would leave by 6:30 or 7 o'clock. He would arrive at 6:30 or 7 o'clock at night and then leave first thing in the morning. And the reason why he had to leave first thing in the morning was because he had to help get Saul and Ari ready for school. He couldn't stay with Janelle, who he rarely ever sees, and Savannah, who he almost never sees. He couldn't spend more time with them in the morning, have breakfast with them or do something and then get going, or even start working there. He couldn't spend 24 hours. He literally got there at night, like an hour or two before bed, slept, got up in the morning and took off and help Saul and Ari get ready in the morning. Their mom is there, and there's 3 teenagers there. I mean, actually, two of them are in their 20s. But Cody had to leave Janelle and Savannah to go over and take care of that every time he came over. Cody was asked about it, and he just acknowledged the fact that he took them to school. He said, I took them to school because I liked it. It's, you know what? Kudos for honesty. Kudos to Cody. He said something honest. I'm just completely selfish. That's what I wanted to do. I didn't want to spend time with them. I wanted to spend time with these kids instead. So I left. Okay. You know everyone's going to hate you more and more and more, but okay, at least you were honest. He goes on to say that when the family were all growing up, that he couldn't spend that time and take everyone to school because he was trying to make ends meet, and it was just a hustle and all that. I'm like, well, okay. Except that we remember in the early seasons, I believe it was season number 1, they showed Janelle getting up in the morning at 5 a.m. And by 5:30, Logan was up, and Janelle, in that half-hour time, got herself ready to go, and she was getting ready to leave, and Logan was up, and he's starting to prepare breakfast for all of Janelle's kids as Janelle said goodbye, and she had to take off to drive to go to work. Logan continued to finish breakfast and feeding breakfast to the kids and make sure that they all got off and got on the school bus or off however they need to go to get to school. And Janelle said in an interview, I don't know where Cody was. That means that happened even when Cody was staying with her. He did not have work at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm telling you that right now. He's like an arms dealer of some sort. He sells guns. That doesn't have to happen at 5 o'clock in the morning. And he claimed that the reason for 6 weeks he couldn't see Savannah last Christmas, over Christmas and into January, was because he had meetings at night. So even when she got home from school, that he would have to do meetings. So apparently, if that wasn't a lie, I think it's a liar. I think he's a liar. But let's just say that that's true. Well, then in the morning he would be free because he works in the evenings. Are you lying then, or are you lying now, Cody? There is a cutaway to Christine where she simply says, I don't remember one time that Cody ever left another sister wife's house to come over and help me get my kids ready in the morning. And let's just say Christine has 6 kids. They were close in age, 6 kids. She could have used the help. In fact, I seem to remember that Isabel would put the young ones to bed at night and make sure they get ready and go to bed because Christine, bless her, who watched all the kids, all 13 kids all day long and homeschooled most of them, at night would leave and go to some job. I'm not sure what it was. It was like factory work or something like that, but like something that made money. And she would work at night. Yeah. And then, of course, she would like work through the night because she would leave at night and they would have to put it down. Cody didn't put the kids down. I remember her saying in that thing, I wish Cody would put them down, but he said he's busy in the other houses. He would help put them down if it was his night to be with her, but other than that, he's a piece of work. He is really a douchebag. And can I just point out that he said this is my second chance because of the littles that I have to help. I'm helping the littles out. I have this second chance. Truly is 1 year older than Saul. They're the same age. But yet he doesn't do for Truly what he does for Saul and Ari. Just saying. There's a cutaway, and I can't remember what the question was before it, but I wrote down the response that Christine had. In one of her interviews, she says, quote, I'm tired of being called a bad sister wife. A bad sister wife monopolizes all of her husband's time so that he doesn't have time for someone else. Cody's always referring to her as a bad sister wife because she didn't love her other sister wives, which she did love Janelle. Mary was cruel to her. Robin she couldn't trust because she was conniving and said things to Cody behind Christine's back. It wasn't good. But because Cody's blindly in love with her, if everybody else wasn't blindly in love with her, then he didn't have anything for them and he called them bad sister wives. I'm not really sure what Robin really did for Christine, but that's neither here nor there. Cody in his interview says a bad sister wife takes her kids away from her husband. And that's exactly what Christine has done. Cody adds, Robin is not guilty of that. Robin's just loyal, and Christine just wasn't. End quote. No matter how many times you say it, Cody, it doesn't make it right. Doesn't make it right. Christine was loyal. All of your wives were loyal to you, with the exception of Mary, because of the catfishing thing. Other than that, they were all loyal to you. Christine didn't want to move to Vegas. She said, okay, you're the man. I'll do it. Christine didn't want to move to Flagstaff. She said, okay, you're the man. I'll do it. I mean, Christine wanted to keep holidays. He took them away. She said, okay, you're the man. She has been so loyal to him, and through the way he has mistreated her their entire marriage, she was still there. And she never went to somebody else. She never asked for a divorce until he said, I'm done with my relationship with you, and we are no longer going to have intimate relations. We're just married in name only. That's when she left. I mean, Could you be more loyal? It literally had to get to that point before she left. I mean, Mary now is pretty loyal too. She makes up for the catfishing thing because he's so cruel to her, and she's still there, loyal as ever. He needs a new word. Again, words are important. They have meaning. Loyal is not the proper word. He's trying to dumb it down. They're not obedient to him. Robin is obedient to him. So Christine and Mary are talking some more in their downstairs of the Airbnb, and Janelle is referring to the fact that she would be fine if she never saw Robin or Mary ever again in her life. She's like, I simply don't have any desire to have a relationship with her. I've never liked Mary from the moment I married Cody. We never really got along, but we just made it work to get along together. And she said with Robin, there was never a connection. Robin was 10 years younger. Her kids were a lot younger. They had different interests. They had nothing in common. And they just made it work on a professional business, functioning family kind of level. But she was never close to him. So at this point, she's like, well, why would I get together with either of them? I was never close to them. And I don't need to see them again. Well, Christine points out that she thought it would be really nice if the whole family would have a reunion just once a year, which I think was a great idea. Even if it's just a picnic in the park. Once a year, everybody gets together. It doesn't have to be in an enclosed cabin for an entire weekend. It can be light and bright, and let's get together and have a picnic. And then Janelle goes, you know what? Yeah, no, I could do that. I could be around Mary and Robin. It's not like I don't choose to hang out with them, but let's face it, when the whole family gets together, you can avoid people. Just be like, hey, and move on. Then they cut to Robin, who's like, oh no, we can't, no. No, that's not a good idea. Until there'll be fighting, until everything is resolved. Her and Cody are on this path of until things get resolved. No one's making an effort to resolve. What they mean is until people come groveling back and apologetic, until that moment happens, we're not going to get together. And Robin keeps thinking that all these fights are going to happen. Oh, there's going to be fights. I think she knows how angry Cody is. And based on all the supplements on their counter, and based on his anger level, she might know also that maybe he is taking steroids, which are creating more of an anger in his personality. And I think she's scared that he's going to go off, because the whole family gets together, and there are going to be TLC cameras there. When they self-shoot at these birthday parties or McKelty visiting or Christmas, they just shoot what they want to shoot. That's the boring B footage that TLC is saving a ton of money by not sending a production crew, but it's so painstakingly boring. They shoot what they want to shoot, edit it, and send it to TLC. But anytime there's been a blowout, or there's been a fight, or there's been disagreements or arguments or something like that, it's when cameras of TLC are there for hours on end, and they're having to work through things, and then the true self comes to the surface after a period of time. You can only hide it for so long. And then they cut to Cody, who says that no, he would never want to get together because he doesn't want to see Christine. We're back to Christine. It's all about Christine. He refuses to get together with all his children around because Christine might be in a 20-foot radius of him. He doesn't have to hug and kiss her and hold her hand the entire time. He doesn't want to see her. So he said, no, I'm not going to have a family reunion. That is a rotten father right there. Rotten. Quickly, Aurora has a boy that she's interested in. Again, there's nothing to that storyline whatsoever, but they needed to say something. It's kind of like the ear-piercing storyline. It's just like watching paint dry. So moving on. I mean, she's 20 years old, and they were treating her like she's a sweet 16, and she had her first crush. It's kind of embarrassing, but she's been sheltered for so long that, I don't know, it kind of makes me sad. Mary is a little bit happy and says to Robin, I've got some good news. And Robin's all bubbly, and she's like, oh yeah, what? And Mary says, I signed a lease. And she goes, oh, a lease for... And then she goes, for this house. And then instantly Robin's voice drops. She's like, this house? And Mary says, yeah, I decided I'm just going to stay here as opposed to getting another. She goes, I thought you were going to get a smaller place. And she goes, no, I decided to stay here. And she goes, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's better. You could tell Robin was not happy. I think Robin saw dollar signs fly away. I think she knew that house was a $5,000 a month rental, and Mary was going to go into a smaller one, which meant that money was all going back to the family pot. Robin was going to have a lot more access to funds, which are now gone because Mary's keeping the big mansion of a house, which is ridiculous, but that's neither here nor there. The last line she said was actually, she said, that's probably a good thing though, huh? It's probably a good thing though, huh? Like, right? She's so bad. She just can't hide. When things are sprung on her, she can't hide her true emotions. She was not happy that Mary was staying in that house. Robin says in an interview, Mary moving to Parowan is stressing me out, but I'm trusting her. Meaning I want her to stay in the family, funds and all. Cut to Cody saying, I have no problem with her moving there. She keeps assuring me that it's not her moving on, but I can't help but to think you should move on. So now Christine and Janelle are still talking, and Janelle makes the comment that her relationship is amiable with Cody. Now, I think this is the second time amiable has come up. Again, speech language pathologist, I believe. Speech language pathologist. I believe they mean amicable, not amiable. Amiable is an adjective to describe something, whereas amicable describes like a relationship between people. And amiable would be like, she's a friendly person, she's an amiable person. My neighbor is a very amiable person, and our relationship is amicable. That's how the difference between the two. So I believe they're using it incorrectly, but that's neither here nor there. But again, it's just hard when you've been trained for 30 years in speech and language that to just let some of this stuff slide. So Janelle says the same thing. And then Christine says, how can it be amiable? I saw the footage. I saw the fight, which is very interesting. So let's just point this out right now. Christine saw the footage. This season, she's seen the footage of the fight that happened. So TLC is sharing bits and nuggets with certain people when they want to, because clearly Mary is not seeing what's being said about her by Cody. So they're not all seeing all the footage or what's been edited so far. But somehow Christine had privy to that fight, and TLC didn't mind putting that in there. So they don't care letting people know that they're spilling some footage for people to see and thus react to. And then at the very end, Janelle says, but you have to understand that I would consider plural marriage again. And Christine is like, what? You can tell Christine's like, there's nothing further from what I want to do in my life than to get into another plural marriage. And she's shocked that Janelle would. And it's interesting that apparently in the interview, and it's kind of spliced up so it seems weird, but it seems like in the interview, which got cut off, is that the interviewers from TLC were saying, are you jealous that she's going to have other sister wives and another family and these other people? Because Christine's answer mentions, I don't have time to be jealous right now of something that really hasn't happened, but she just is shocked that Janelle is really, truly still interested in living polygamy. Christine goes on to say, even if I meet my soulmate and they lived polygamy, I would not join polygamy, even if that was my soulmate that I was in love with. I wouldn't do it. And she says, the amount of heartbreak that I would put the other wives through, I would never want to put them through that. That's powerful. That's a huge dig at Robin. Of course, Robin may not have known all the pain and hurt that she was going to be putting the sister wives through by joining the family. Both Janelle and Christine agree that Cody is now a monogamist, and Janelle says he's really been for quite a bit of time now that she's reflecting on it. And Janelle says that she would consider still having a relationship with Cody if he could change, that she would still be a partner to him. Bless her heart, Janelle says, right now Cody and I are just friends with benefits, but I need more than that. Yeah, maybe you're friends. Janelle doesn't know what that phrase means, so I don't think they're friends with benefits. for a very long time. We cut to an interview with Cody saying, I don't understand why Janelle can't be married to me. Because she was married to me when I was married to Mary. She was married to me when I was married to Christine. And she was married to me when I was married to Robin. So why not now? Again, you make no sense, Cody. Those words make no sense. What does you being married to other people? Janelle loves polygamy. Why would you be married to somebody else be a reason why she would want to leave? Has nothing to do with it, the fact that he has other wives. She wants to leave because of you, Cody, because of your behavior, because of how you treat her and how you treat your children, and she can't stomach it anymore. Has nothing to do with the fact that you were married to other people. Why would you even say that? Why do you make yourself look that dumb on camera? Or, I mean, maybe he just is. Zero self-awareness. Janelle talks about if she decided to move on, she doesn't know what that's going to look like. Even if she decided she wanted to stay in polygamy, then she can only do that and go into another polygamous family if she's released from this one. And it has to be a spiritual leader in the AUB church that releases you from your marriage, but they're not really attending any churches or a part of any of that community anymore, so there isn't somebody to release her. And then they cut to Christine, who is in an interview completely serious. And she says, this is true. There's a lot of rules that you have to follow to be released from your marriage. And even after you do that, you're still not released until you have sex with somebody else. And then she busts out laughing. We all knew that line that Robin said was completely false. Completely false. And now finally somebody's come out and said it. Christine, whose grandfather created the religion that they have and all the rules that go along with it. She would know, if anybody would know, what it would take to be released from a marriage. And she says what Robin said about having to have sex with another person before you're officially released from the marriage. She goes, that is not true. I have never heard that in my life. And she's laughing, like wholehearted belly laughs. It is great. Because, I mean, I remember laughing the first time I heard Robin say it when she was sitting there in the interview. I was just like, what? What kind of rule is that? So now it's been addressed. We know Robin was lying. She made that up. All right, so we're going to end it with this. We have Janelle, a quote from Janelle here at the very end. Let me read it directly for you. She says, I think Cody is who he is. I think he's been this guy for a few years, and he's just been waiting for all of us to fall off, or go away, or for everything to just break down. He is not pining for the family that he has lost, except if his ego is involved, and it makes him look bad, and his family is not intact. Janelle ends it with a mic drop. Okay, so this was good on your part, TLC. You did some horrible stuff in terms of editing and timeline and whatever in there and boring footage, but some of these interviews, some of these lines that you saved are really good, and I just love that she's like, it's just all about ego. And you know what? Cody said that years ago. He's like, I'm a polygamist. It's all about ego, man. He admitted it. Those are his own words that came out of his mouth. What was it, 2 seasons ago? So here we are. Janelle's finally believing it herself. She points out that he's just waiting for them all to drop off because he doesn't want to look bad in the eyes of anybody in the faith. He doesn't want to tell anybody to leave. He wants to be the victim and have his hands free by saying, I was in a spiritual commitment. I was going to stay married to them for the rest of my life and for all of eternity, but they left. So he just treats them like absolute shit until they have no choice but to leave. And poor Robin, who really wants everybody's money, is like, Cody. I mean, that's the one thing. Cody said Cody loves money, and the only thing he's scared about is being poor in life. But he just doesn't even care when it comes to Mary and all her money. And he wants Janelle's money, and she continues to work and make a lot of money, and he wants her to stick around because he kind of had her around his little finger. Well, he had Mary around his little finger too. I mean, he just hates Mary so much that he's willing to throw her completely away, even though she's a pretty easy relationship and there's not a whole lot of kids to worry about in that situation. But he really just hates her and doesn't want to spend any time with her. And he's like, go and take your money with you. I'm good with it. And Robin's like, take your money. All right, that's the end of episode 10. I'm going to try to make these shorter. I had all these notes written from like a couple days ago, but honestly, I'm going to really try to condense it. But give me your feedback. Let me know if that's really what you want to bring it down to like a 30-minute video instead of a 60-minute video. I'm more than happy to do that. Like, subscribe, do all that good stuff that you do on all the rest of the videos. It will just, if this channel starts to grow, I'm just going to keep doing these. If not, I'll just kind of end it. But like, I'm happy to do this with other reality shows too that people are interested in. When Vanderpump Rules starts up, I do watch that. I'll probably make them for that too. But again, nobody likes, subscribes, or watches. I got other things to do too. I'll find another hobby. I'll find a friend somewhere. So write something. Just write something to me. I don't even care. Write that your hair is ugly and your voice is terrible. I'll be like, okay, yeah, I agree. All right. You take care. I will talk to you after episode 12. Bye-bye.